Hi, I'm Eleanor Bruce. This is iPulse Live for April 5th, 2024.
And I'm Ian. A 4.8 earthquake recorded in New Jersey rattled residents in New York City and in surrounding states a few hours ago. New York authorities are checking subways, buildings, and schools for damage. Flights at some Northeast airports are being held while runways are being checked.
Now, news around our campus. We start off with some new services and activities for Lynn students. Ever since Lynn got the new fitness center, they have added a variety of workout classes, including spin classes. Reporter Alison Wallace shows us more.
Here at Lynn University, the Snyder Center is now offering new workout classes. Come take a spin with us.
Welcome to Lynn University Spin. Come play.
I'm here with Holly. How long have you been teaching cycling classes?
35 years.
That's a long time. What inspired you to start doing this in the first place?
I was a gymnast growing up, and I always worked out in college. I always worked out right after college. So right after college, I went and got my degrees and my fitness certificates, and I've been doing it ever since.
What do you feel is the most rewarding part about being an instructor?
I love when people go from never sitting on a bike, never being in a fitness room, to being total athletes, loving their workouts, losing the weight, getting the muscles. That's just inspiring.
Oh yeah, and what type of music do you play if you play any?
Everything from any genre. The kids will say, I want this song, I want that song, and I just play whatever they want. Well, as long as it's clean, but I'll play anything. It's fun.
We're here at Christine Lynn's cycling studio right before the class starts. Our instructor Holly is going to teach us how it's done.
Girls and guys, let's do this. Start pedaling. Nice complete circles. Pushing through those heels, engage your core. Keep your shoulders and necks relaxed. 1, stand it up. 8, yes, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower down. 8, 7, 6. Okay. Let your feet slow down. Bring your hands in front of you. Drop your chin. Stretch out your back.
Was it fun? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I was with my friends. Definitely worked on my legs a lot that I wasn't used to, so I liked it a lot.
Would you recommend doing classes? I mean, I think a lot of guys should start doing it.
Yeah, I don't see enough guys doing it, but it's definitely a great workout that I think a lot more guys should do.
I'm Alison Wallace reporting for iPulse News.
College athletes are put under a lot of pressure to perform. The jump from high school to college athletics is a big one, and not all athletes are well prepared when beginning their college journey. As I found out, mental health is an ongoing, growing issue within the world of college athletics.
My name is Claggett. I'm a sophomore this year. I'm on the women's lacrosse team, and I am 19 years old.
Is the college athlete experience what you expected it to be before you came? And explain why.
I feel like the college athlete experience is a little bit of what I was assuming it was going to be. I feel like I didn't really have like a really good idea of like exactly what it would be like. But I feel like mentally and physically it's like definitely like a lot. Being like a college athlete, I feel like I had an idea of what it might be like in my head when I was in high school. And then when I got here, I was like, oh no, like this is so fun, like this is good, like whatever. And then I feel like it all kind of hit me at the end of the year and I was like, oh shoot, this is what people talk about, like this is the mentally draining part, this is the physically draining part. Like once my season was over, I looked back and like truly saw into like how I felt. I feel like that's the part that kind of hit me the most. It wasn't really necessarily during it, like obviously you have these days where you're like, God, like this sucks, but like I feel like after the season is when it kind of hit me and I was like, damn, like that's what being a college athlete is, like that's where like that's what people are talking about with like the whole stigmas and everything.
But this is not just a story about one athlete. So many athletes across the world struggle with their mental health, trying to balance their sport with everything else in life.
My name is Mia Zambrano. I am a licensed mental health therapist, and I specialize in mental performance work with elite athletes. I work with the Lynn University women's lacrosse team. We work on optimizing our mental health so that it can also enhance their performance, their well-being, and their resilience while they're performing in a highly competitive atmosphere.
Specifically for the women's lacrosse program, for our mental game, we have a sports psychologist come in, and she talks to us every Wednesday. It's like an hour-long session, and that's really helpful.
I think athletes need to remember at the end of the day they're human first. And to keep your mental health in a good place, you need to just build a relationship with it. You have to have more awareness and less judgment towards how you're feeling. And I think a lot of negative experiences and emotions get very normalized in this setting. And that doesn't mean, it's not that we're never going to suffer, it's not that we're never going to struggle, but you don't have to stay in that place longer than necessary. You can learn from it, you can grow from it. So instead of just chalking up your experience to, of course I feel bad about myself, I'm comparing myself, I'm having all these experiences, learn from that and grow from it. So again, you need to take care of yourself as a human first so that you can be an athlete or the athlete that you want to be.
Mia, I feel like, has created that sense of togetherness that this team has, because we go in there and we really have to be open and honest. Like, people are telling like their deep feelings in front of their whole entire team, and which we can, like, I'm sure half of us can relate to all these deep thoughts that people are like expressing. So I feel like that really builds like a sense of like respect for one another, that like we're able to open up, because I feel like a lot of teams like maybe don't open up to everybody on the team, but like with Mia, like we have to open up to everybody on the team, even the girls that you're not that close with. So I feel like that's really helped us create that team, like togetherness dynamic.
Oftentimes, more often than is acknowledged, I believe, there is this identity crisis that tends to happen for college athletes, either when they have a career-ending injury or they graduate and they're no longer in that world.
I think identity crisis in college athletes, I guess, is definitely very, very common. And I think it makes total sense, because like that's what we've been kind of basing our whole entire like proudness, goodness off of, So I feel like that definitely will occur. But I think when college athletes have that like good mental health, they'll understand that it's like that's not their worth. Like that's not what they should be judging their like whole personality off of.
It's just where it feels so defeating, and again there's this true identity crisis of what now, or who am I, or where is my purpose, or how am I to be acknowledged or rewarded or reinforced. That can happen in other ways.
I'm Eleanor Bruce for iPulse.
On March 13th, members of the Lynn University swim team competed at the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championships. This is the highest level for Division II swimmers to compete in, and it provides an annual opportunity for qualifiers to represent their schools. iPulse reporter Kinda Green was on deck as Lynn swimmers prepared for their big meet.
Lynn University swim team is racing to the top of athletic success through their dedicated training both in and out of the pool. After wrapping up their performances at the Sunshine State Conference this past February, 6 women and 3 men secured a spot on the national team. This is the most men Lynn has ever seen qualify for a competition of such standard since their program was created 5 years prior. These 9 swimmers will go on to represent Lynn University in Geneva, Ohio, over the span of 4 days, starting on March 13th. Team members dive further into the depths of their preparation prior to nationals.
Hi, my name is Michael Greisel. I'm the assistant swim coach here at Lynn University. So training for nationals is kind of a tricky thing because you get right off a conference and then you have 2 or 3 weeks to get back into shape again. So we taper down, we got to build them back up, so there's bodies changing a little bit. So now we're in the downswing again, so we're tapering them back down. The women's team is ranked 5th right now, so we're hoping to stay within that top 10. And then the men's team, we're just hoping to get some points, maybe call into some top 16s for individual points. We'll see where the men's team lands, but we're just excited to get 3 guys there.
Kamir Petovich and Laura DeKonig additionally insight what it means to be part of the national swim team.
It's my first nationals. I'm fortunate this year to qualify, and I'm super excited about it. For me to get here, it starts many years ago. I think to go to nationals, you have to work your whole career, your whole swim career to make to this point. But especially this year, I think what helped me a lot was the breaststroke group. The teammates pushed me harder during practices.
To be on the national swim team feels very rewarding. It feels like my hard work that I've been putting on the whole season has been paying off. A piece of advice I would give to a Lynn swimmer who wants to make it to the national team, I would just say put the extra work. Stay after practice, stay after lift, like do your research. But also have your goals set from the very early on, because I remember I enter every single season with being, okay, those are my times. I write down my times that I want to make, and I look at them every single morning before practice, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to achieve.
The Lynn swim team concluded their competition with exceeded expectations. The women ranked 5th overall with 10 top 8 finishes, including their first ever relay to win a national title. The men additionally set a new program standard with 2 top 16 finishes, resulting in their highest point score to date. For more updates on the Lynn swim team and their continued strides to success, visit the website Lynn Fighting Knights or follow along their Instagram at Lynn Swimming. This was Kinder Green with iPulse News.
The Lynn University Automobile Club has hosted several get-togethers on and off campus since its inception. It has around 50 club members and is growing. Recently, it hosted a Cars and Wings meet at a local wing stop. Kevin King was there.
Tonight, we're at Cars and Wings in Boynton Beach, Florida. Cars and Wings is an event from Lynn University's Automotive Club at Wingstop off of Congress Ave. Recently coming to fruition last year, Lynn's Automotive Club has hosted multiple meets on and off campus, with around 50 club members so far. I spoke with a few students and club members to understand what they like about Lynn's off-campus events.
You know, I like that Lynn hosts events off campus. It can get boring on campus sometimes, so it really gives me something to do. And I love coming out, seeing all the cars like this hunk of beauty right here. It's great.
From off-roaders to old muscle cars, Lynn's Automotive Club has everything for those to enjoy.
I like Lynn Car Club because we have even though it's South Florida and it's a lot of import cars, we do have a pretty wide range of cars. You can have anything from, you know, the Fox Body to an XM to the M5 to the Raptor and pull up, and people are going to appreciate what you have. It's a very accepting group. People are going to not only like accept you, but also be interested in what you have. Everyone has very common interests. Everyone is real close. It's a small school, so, you know, you see people's cars around campus and you always wonder, you know, who's in that car, and they just randomly show up to the Lynn Car Meet one day, and, you know, you get to meet new people, make new friends. It's a good place.
But it's not just about cars. Wingstop hosts the perfect place for hungry college students to end up after cruising together from campus.
The staff are super nice, even give us free food. It's a win-win in this situation because they give us a place to be, and as well as we do stuff for their business at the same time. So it's a win-win from both sides.
I'm Kevin King with iPulse.
Spring break is a great time to go to the movies. For example, from late February until early March, the Sun and Stars International Film Festival displayed a variety of documentaries and comedies at local Paragon theaters. I really liked Smoke Sauna Sisterhood, but everything there was great. This report does involve details that may be upsetting to some viewers.
From February 27th to March 11, 2024, the Donald M. Ephraim Sun and Stars International Film Festival took place at Paragon Theaters. Natalie Glaze, the film festival manager, explained what types of films were displayed, as well as their most popular.
I would say the most popular film that we had was God and Country, The Rise of Christian Nationalism, which was by Rob Reiner, and it discussed kind of about the insurrection that happened on the White House and how people try to use religion to justify those actions. So that was a really great film that people are really excited to see, which is very relevant to current topics, especially politics, us being here in Palm Beach County. So that was a really great one to see.
However, one of the festival's most impactful films was Smoke Sauna Sisterhood. The film is an Estonian documentary that tells a story of trauma that women have gone through in their life, all taking place in a sauna. Although the film was not in English, it still resonated with the audience, especially Kadri Graf.
I mean, I'm a bit biased. I'm Estonian, so it's like we're a really small nation. So everything we do that makes it out of Estonia, we're very proud of. But I love the visual, like Kristen. I love the visual language. I almost like my favorite parts were you could almost like like you see the door of the sauna, or you can see. You can see like the two women hugging. I felt like they're almost like still portraits you could take out of the movie and put on a wall and it would be art. I really enjoyed the kind of, I feel like the visual language kind of really well conveyed of the topics and the heaviness and also the sisterhood of the women.
The women in the sauna were all honest with each other as they cleansed their guilt and shared their most intimate experiences.
It was obviously a lot of heavy topics. I mean, they talked about childbirth, abortion, rape. I mean, but I just thought it was, all the topics were very sensitive, but it was nice to hear people really being honest.
The film profoundly impacted the audience, as the movie was a warm hug for women all around the world, sharing the message that no woman is alone in their battles. I'm Lysette Quillen for iPulse.
Now, another presentation of iPulse Perspectives. In this interview, Lynn Professor Martin Phillips talks to Kevin Neal, chairman of the Republican Party for Palm Beach County. Neal speaks about Donald Trump, the Republican Party, the press, and more. Professor Phillips starts off asking Mr. Neal what he believes in.
They say about you that you're a populist, nationalist, American First Republican. Tell me what that means.
That's like Donald Trump. Populist, nationalist, America First means not anti-globalism, putting America first and securing our borders, looking out for our economy and the interests of our citizens first and foremost.
What does Trump stand for in the Republican Party, policy-wise?
Policy, I think that people love President Trump because he looks out for Americans. A big key to his victory in 2016 were votes from working class Americans in the Midwest area, and promised that he wasn't going to send their jobs overseas to Mexico, that sort of thing, drive up employment here, increase the economy here, secure our borders here. We did the trade deals with China. Just policies that are geared towards keeping America first, not sending money to Ukraine, not sending money overseas, not outsourcing jobs. Just America first. It seems like a basic principle. This is the United States, where our government and our president, their job is to look out for Americans.
And what is the business at home that we have to take care of?
Well, get our inflation under control, get our economy back on track. The invasion at the southern border is a disaster.
But Mr. Neal, on the question of the border, Republicans in Congress didn't want to go there in terms of the legality of passing that legislation, right?
They haven't done anything about it. The local states have tried to step in there, and then the government will come in and stop them. I'm surprised.
What I'm asking is, in the Congress, there was a law that was being passed that gave Republicans a lot of what they wanted in terms of the border, but Republicans turned against the bill that was being pushed. Doesn't seem to make sense.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me that this issue has gone on as long as it has. But Democrats want the border open.
And Republicans?
They, in general, want it closed.
But wasn't that what the legislation would have done?
I'm not sure exactly.
What would you like to see happen when Trump becomes president?
Well, I think I'd start locally here. The policies that Republicans have had in place here have been great for Florida. With Governor DeSantis and our Republican leadership in Tallahassee, our economy here is booming. Florida is one of the top 10 tourist destinations in the world. And Even this year, the first quarter, we set records, new tourism records. Folks keep coming here. I said it's the #1 state for net migration. 1,200 people a day move to Florida. We have a state budget surplus. I'm originally from Illinois. Illinois is broke. The state of Illinois is broke. It's been broke for years. They have unfunded pension problems. Other states have all kinds of financial problems. In Florida, we don't have that. And we've had a Republican governor in Florida for the last 25 years, Republican leadership, which has created a sound economic environment in our state. We have law and order here. It's very safe in general. If you go to a lot of these northern cities right now, crime is a big concern, is a big reason why folks are leaving and coming to the free state of Florida. So a lot of these are just basic issues, you know.
And what would you say Governor DeSantis has done on those issues?
You know, he didn't allow, back in 2020, he put his foot down, didn't allow, the riots and all that sort of thing that was going on up north. He was very firm about that, and we didn't have those issues here in Florida, which is important for public safety, and it's important for creating an environment in a state where people, as I said, this is the #1 state that people want to visit and move to. I mean, that tells you a lot, and people, there's net migration here that's positive. People aren't leaving. So this is a place where people want to be. People, traveling here domestically and abroad, and people moving here from other states and from other countries. I mean, if those aren't signs that you're on the right track, then I don't know what is. These blue states up north, they're losing people. New York, Illinois, California, they're losing people every year.
But I'm not sure you're answering my question. What did DeSantis actually do?
Well, he, as I said, back in 2020, he communicated that we're not going to tolerate these riots and violent demonstrations and that sort of thing. He also has created, a pro-business environment that has maybe not quite as pro-business as Texas, which is very pro-business, but pro-business where now a lot of businesses are moving here. A lot of businesses are moving from New York to West Palm Beach. You're talking about West Palm Beach as a new financial center here in Palm Beach County. We've got the Bright Line here now, the train. There's just a lot of economic drivers here, and he's just supported economic growth in the state and let people come here. Like I said, there's no state income tax, which is a huge incentive for folks to move here, and obviously the weather just let folks come here and raise their family and run their business, and there's really no state in the country better to do that than Florida. In 2020. He kept the state open, which I think was very important for what we're seeing now. While other states and cities were shutting down around the country, after a very brief period, he said, Florida is open. And people started coming to Florida. And honestly, they haven't stopped in the last 4 years. And I think that was critical to the momentum that we're enjoying now. And since he's been in office, the budget surplus in Tallahassee has only increased. The policy decisions that they've made have been very positive for the financial wealth of the state.
Tell me about how you react to all of these criminal cases that are against Trump and all of these convictions for civil cases and the money that he owes and the charge of sexual assault that he lost. How do you integrate that with your feeling about the man?
I think it's all just noise. It's noise that is designed to derail his campaign, which honestly is going very well. His numbers are very strong, and I know that in our local party, everyone supports President Trump. I mean, he's right here in our backyard, Palm Beach County, in Palm Beach. We support him 100%, and we are going to work as hard as we can to make sure that he wins the state of Florida in the election in November. That's our job. Make sure he wins Palm Beach County and wins the state of Florida, and that's what we can do.
He believes that the last election was stolen. Do you?
There were a lot of irregularities that don't add up, so I would agree with him.
You think the election was stolen?
Something happened in the swing states, for sure.
So the answer is yes, you believe it was stolen.
I agree with President Trump that it feels like it was.
What about all the court cases? What about the investigations? Have you lost faith in the whole system of, this is a big issue.
Yeah, it is a big issue.
And you seem to be saying, I'm with him.
I mean, if you look at the data, just objectively, there's a lot that doesn't add up.
Again, I'm not trying to push you. I need to understand this. What data?
Look at some. There are like 18 or 19 bellwether counties that they've tracked in elections going back decades, and he won. I think if it's 19, I think he won 18 of those counties, and those are counties that typically, when you win those counties, you win, and he's like the only candidate who's won those counties in the last, I don't know how many decades, that didn't win. So if you just objectively looking at statistical voter data like that, there's a lot of data like that that doesn't add up.
Well, so what makes you think that this election is going to be any different?
I'm not sure. Our job is to turn out the vote, and hopefully, we can just put up overwhelming numbers for President Trump and support him, all the way to election. And as I said, we're going to work like hell here in Palm Beach County to turn out the vote for President Trump, and I know that our colleagues statewide are going to do the same. And we'd like to deliver Florida for President Trump in a big way, hopefully maybe with a 10% margin. He won by about, I think, 3.5% last time, but with our increased voter totals here now, we're getting close to 1 million more registered Republican voters statewide than the Democrats, which is the largest margin we've ever had. And as I said, we've got more registered Republicans here than any state in the country now. And so we're going to look to push that with very strong numbers in the election for President Trump.
The chances are, if he loses, I'm saying if he loses, that we're going to be going through this election denial. The election was stolen again. I mean, you've watched television. What are the chances that we're going to go through this all over again?
Okay, I don't want to speculate. Our job is to hopefully make sure he wins by such a margin that isn't an issue. And
but you're the head of the Republican Party
in
this county.
In the county.
Yeah.
So we're going to control what we can control. We're looking to register Republican voters here locally, and then get out the vote by requesting vote by mail ballots. We want all Republicans in the county to request a vote by mail ballot, either vote with that ballot or vote in early voting, preferably, and then vote on election day as well. So we want to deliver votes in all three phases of the election there for President Trump and all of our other local candidates, so that they deliver convincing victories, so we don't have to leave this to chance.
Right, but I'm talking about if he loses nationally. You're the head of a party in this county, and you don't want to say that if in fact Joe Biden, somebody else wins, that there wasn't election fraud.
Look, we can't control what goes on in other states, so we can just control what's going on here in the county, and we're going to focus on that. And we are confident that President Trump will win the state of Florida, and we're going to make sure that he does.
Well, he did last time.
He did last time, and we expect that he will this time by an even greater margin. And that's, look, especially these days, you can only control what you can control. We can't control what goes on elsewhere.
What about Congress? As a Republican, even if you put aside your responsibilities as the county, does it upset you at all that we are at this kind of total stalemate?
So I agree, we need to continue to make progress there in Congress, and all we can do here locally is to push to elect representatives that reflect our values. And while we've got great leadership representing us, or Rick Scott, Marco Rubio as well, we have great representatives in Washington from the state of Florida, and we need to help them and elect more.
What's interesting to me about what you're saying is you look at the statistics and you say, people are coming here, so we must be doing something right. People might be coming because the taxes are lower, there are no state taxes. That doesn't mean government is doing necessarily a great job. They're not doing stuff. Are they?
I think they are. There are a lot of states that have no income tax. Florida isn't the only one.
But you have the sun.
obviously the weather is a factor. I said, but Florida, you know, it's in general, it's safe here. You know, there are a lot of reasons why folks want to come here. And as I said, you know, the tourists are coming here in droves. You know, if a place isn't safe, why are people going to go on vacation with their family and take their family there? So it is very important. I mean, obviously the weather is important and the no state income tax, but they said there are other states where you wouldn't have to pay taxes, and where the weather's good also. You know, or there's a lot of reasons to come here, but we just keep creating more and more reasons for people to either visit Florida or move to Florida.
You know, I asked you about all of these charges against Trump, and you said, I see it as noise. But I can't imagine with your background that you don't say to yourself, wait a second, there's a lot going on here. There is a lot going on here. I mean, you know, he's getting hit by fines here, fines there. Does that not cross your brain and you say to yourself, I mean, I'm happy to accept that you say it's just noise, but at what point do you say, wait a second, something is going on here?
You know, it doesn't bother me. I think that it's just the nature of the media these days that they want to create a frenzy out of these issues. As I said, he was at our event a couple of weeks ago. I presented our county's Lifetime Achievement Award to him, and then he spoke to our group, and like he seemed very focused. He's focused on the task at hand, on winning this election and continuing to fight for the American people. And we know that that's what he's going to do. And I think the rest of this is, you know, unfortunately it's a distraction and it takes away from that, but I think he's got his eye, you know, on the target, and he's going to keep moving forward.
Is there anything you'd like to tell my students who don't know what to believe at this point about the press?
I think you need to, especially today, you need to seek out your own sources. You know, I try not to follow the news and the media and talk. You know, I'm in a position where I can talk firsthand, you know, with our candidates, but students can do that as well. I mean, there are our local candidates here are having, they have debates, they give speeches, they have rallies, there are meetings you could go to. These folks are around and they're accessible, and you could hear them speak, you could ask them questions, and I think you should go out and see for yourself. That's what I try to do. You know, I'll meet with a lot of candidates, and you know, you've read something about so and so, but when you meet them, it's totally different. You know, and a lot of it is sometimes just hearsay, and it's a narrative, and you should really, more than ever now, I think you need to go to the source, because there's so much media now with social media and all the other types of media that you don't know where, you know, the information's coming from.
Do you trust the media?
No, I don't trust the media.
Why?
I mean, like you said, just look at, based on what I just said, you know, what I read and what I see when I meet a lot of these people, it's very different. I don't watch the news, and
Really?
I don't read the news.
See, I always encourage my journalism students to watch the news, because they can't always get out to meetings. You're right, that's the best, to go to the source.
Right.
But a lot of people can't. And you basically are saying, don't trust the media.
Look, you can read. I think you should take it with a grain of salt. But anything, you know, anything that's not from the source, you should take with a grain of salt. You know, and you should seek out your own sources, and preferably first-hand accounts from the source.
But even he admits he can't verify all the news reports that are out there. You're a citizen. You're a Republican.
I am. I also, you know, I run a local party. I run my own business, and I have 2 sets of twins under 2 years old. So there's a lot going on.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And if I had more time, I would definitely read more about these issues. But there's only so many hours in the day, and I've been working on a huge fundraiser for the last 2 months and local elections, where we had 13 Republicans elected out of 23 races on March 19th, and we have 3 more in a runoff right now. So we've been working on that, you know, around the clock, and we're going to continue to do that before the runoffs on April 2nd. So, you know, it's just a question of how you're going to prioritize your time, and there's only so many hours in the day. And as I said, having 4 little kids is a wild scene. We have 1 set of twins that are almost 2 years old, and another set that are 4 months old.
Do you see the fact that the media is all over the place, that a lot of people don't have time to go to primary sources. Do you see this as a problem? But you're saying it's a problem for you. There are a certain number of hours. We are, as just citizens, we're kind of flying blind.
It is an issue, and we're looking to kind of control the messaging as much as we can. I mean, if you look up, most of the media in the country is more left-leaning and Democrat-controlled, so you're getting that viewpoint. You can seek out, Republican news sources. Or, I feel like, years ago used to be more kind of unbiased reporting, but it seems like now everything has a spin on it, for better or worse, and less just kind of objectively presenting, what happened. So I think that's something you have to be careful of.
I think I asked you this before, but what would you say to young journalists? You don't trust the media. I understand what you're saying. What should they do to make themselves better journalists?
I think just be objective, and be fair, and just, you kind of have to let the story come to you. I'm not sure, because I'm not a journalism guy. I'm a real estate developer. So, just from interacting with journalists in this position, I just wish that they would be more objective. It seems like they kind of have a narrative that they want to push.
I'm trying to push students to read. Obviously, they can't go to all of these meetings, and even if they were, they're Democratic meetings as well and Republican meetings.
So I would encourage students, if they're interested in politics, they could work on these campaigns with us, which would be a great way to get firsthand experience. And there are a lot of local races that are really ramping up now. There's a real opportunity for students to help us on these campaigns, whether it's door knocking, going door to door, or calling and texting voters and that sort of thing, to get the messaging out firsthand for these candidates, and to also go out. A lot of times we'll go out door knocking, and the candidate will come with us and go alongside the candidate. It's very powerful when I've done this. You knock on someone's door and they've got a question about some issue, and you text the candidate. They're down the street, and they come down, and they're at your front door and answering questions. And hear stories about this, about folks who got elected to Congress, and this is how they got elected. This is grassroots type strategy. That is one of our strong suits, and that we're going to employ to work to get Republicans elected in November.
Neil says the Republican Party wants student involvement, and says those interested can contact him at chairman@palmbeach.gop. And that's iPulse Live for April 5th, 2024. I'm Eleanor Bruce.
And I'm Lisette Guillen. You can follow us at our news site, iPulsenews.com, and at iPulse on Apple News.